I've traveled the world with Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki several times, and I'm here to tell you the 5 things that I've learned from him. I'm Ted Sutton, and this is Direct Answers from Corporate Direct. Now, before we get started, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any general questions about anything. As I've already mentioned, I've traveled the world with Robert Kiyosaki on several occasions. My dad is a Rich Dad advisor, and he's taken me on these trips with him. And it was a huge honor and privilege to be around Robert. He's done a lot of good things and educated people on the importance of financial education. Now, because I've spent so much time around him, I'm going to tell you the 5 things that I've learned from Robert Kiyosaki. Number 1, surround yourself with like-minded people. Wherever we traveled, Robert had friends who were in the business world and who were entrepreneurs. Many of them were successful in their own rights, and Robert had met them before at other networking events. What I learned from that is that it's important to find a circle of like-minded people who can elevate you both personally and professionally. The most important thing is once you have this circle, you need to maintain it. Number 2, never stop learning. One of the things I noticed about Robert was that he constantly was reading the news and reading books. And on top of that, if he had any questions about anything, for instance, if he had any legal questions, he'd go to my dad, or if he had any tax questions, he'd go to Tom Wheelwright. If he had any questions, he wasn't afraid to go to an expert to ask for their advice. It's very important to stay up to date with current events, given how the world is constantly changing. Number 3, be consistent. Robert had a daily routine. In the morning, he would exercise and read, and in the afternoon, he would spend time networking with other people. It's important to lock down a daily routine. If you get a routine that works for you, it's very important to stick with it. And if you stick with it, you're gonna be much more successful later on. Number 4, listen to what other people are saying. Whenever I went out to dinner with Robert, one of the things I noticed about him was that he would listen in on other conversations happening around the table. He never needed to be the center of attention, and he was genuinely interested on what other people were saying about different matters. We all have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and it's very important to use them proportionately. And last but certainly not least, number 5, don't be afraid to fail. Whether Robert was on stage in front of a crowd or behind the scenes talking to us, he was very open about the mistakes he's made in the past, whether they be bad relationships, bad business partners, or bad business ventures. We're all human, and mistakes are a part of life. The important thing is how quickly you pick yourself up, learn from that mistake, and move on from it. The better you are at this, the better able you'll be to tackle life's problems. So those are the 5 things that I've learned from spending time around Robert Kiyosaki. It was a huge privilege to be around him, and I feel like it was important for me to impart this knowledge onto you guys. I'll see you next time.